President Joe Biden has issued a mandate for federal workers to get vaccinated. They have about 75 days to do so, but he goes even further. He gave a press conference today in regard to how he plans to step up his response to coronavirus, and he details some of those actions in the next clip. Let's watch.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this: what more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing.
So I actually love that statement because it's true. I mean, at this point, I think everyone who's gotten vaccinated, everyone who's done everything that they've been told to do, and everything that they should do based on the scientific research and what doctors say they should do, like they want to live their lives. And so there's this constant back and forth, this debate about tyranny and freedom and whatever. But the very people whose freedom is being held back are the people who have done everything right. People who want to get back together with their family members and their friends, but we're still dealing with shutdowns. We're still dealing with social distancing. We're still dealing with masks. We're dealing with all these things that we don't really need to be dealing with anymore, as long as everyone who can get vaccinated does get vaccinated, right?
Yeah, we went to a movie theater the other day and we had to put our masks on again. And so what's the point of going to a movie theater if you can't eat popcorn? You gotta have the mask on, etc. So look, that's a tiny inconvenience, but it's annoying. And I say it partly because I want you to understand that right-wing talking points are nonsense. They're horse crap, of course, as always. We're not trying to take away people's freedoms by putting their masks on. No, I don't like it. It fogs up my glasses. I don't like it in 1,000 ways. But we got to get beyond this goddamn thing. I like to see the big crowds in the football games. I wish we could see more of those, but not if it's in the middle of a raging pandemic where idiots won't get vaccinated. So look, we've been through this 1,000 times. So anything that's pushing them in the direction of getting vaccinated outside the force of law, I think is a good thing. What I mean by outside the force of law is, cops coming in and saying you must get vaccinated, otherwise we're gonna put you to jail. I think it's just not gonna work in America, no. Okay? But saying, hey, listen, you have a government contract, this is part of the rules. If you don't want the government contract, it's called #freedom.
Yes.
Looking at getting a contract from someone else, because these are rules. Everybody's got a right to set rules in the workplace. Everybody knows that, yeah. Right? So they're setting the rules, and in a very logical way, because you don't want your coworkers getting sick.
All right, so now he explains exactly what he plans on doing and how this will impact not just federal workers, not just companies that are contracted to work with the federal government, but he also plans on taking action through the Labor Department. So let's take a look.
I will sign an executive order that will now require all executive branch federal employees to be vaccinated, all. And I've signed another executive order that will require federal contractors to do the same. If you want to work with the federal government and do business with us, get vaccinated. If you want to do business with the federal government, vaccinate your workforce. And tonight, I'm removing one of the last remaining obstacles that make it difficult for you to get vaccinated. The Department of Labor will require employers with 100 or more workers to give those workers paid time off to get vaccinated. No one should lose pay in order to get vaccinated or take a loved one to get vaccinated.
I think that's so critical, because I think one of the credible criticisms regarding vaccine mandates was the fact that, look, there are people who are actually concerned about feeling a little under the weather after they get the vaccine. And that has happened to a lot of people. I remember feeling under the weather when I got the vaccine for a day, and then after 24 hours, I was feeling fantastic. But I have the ability to, hit up Cenk and be like, yo bro, I can't come in, I'm not feeling so great. And I'm not gonna lose my job, and I'm not gonna lose my pay either for not coming in that day. A lot of workers don't have that privilege, they don't have that luxury. So mandating that employers have to provide paid time off so people can get the vaccine or recover from the vaccine, I think is critical, and I love that he's doing that.
Yeah, and so number one, federal government employees used to be under the old, if you're wondering, hey, didn't Biden say something like this before? He did, but he was saying before you either have to get vaccinated or you could do testing once a week. And so that's a little bit pain in the ass, but hey, hashtag freedom, right? But now he's saying, no, we're not even allowing the testing. If you want to work for the government, you have to get tested because we're not going to let you endanger other co-workers and et cetera, and the efficiency of the government, all those good reasons, okay? And if you say boo-hoo, I don't want that, well, there are plenty of other jobs. And then if you're a contractor, same thing as we explained earlier. And I think that he has the power to do that. Absolutely, no one questions that. And is it the right decision? Yeah, absolutely. Because viruses spread when people are unvaccinated, and they become national health problems for all of us. And they create more variants, et cetera. So good, strong action by Biden here. He's such a mixed bag. I mean, every day we tell you how frustratingly conservative and outdated he is on some issues, and then he takes really good, solid, strong action on other issues like this.
Right.
So here, credit where credit is due. Nicely done. This is a good way to get the ball rolling. At the end of the day, the right wing's gonna right wing, right? So they're now telling people they're basically doing it to support Trump, not getting vaccinated so that they could support Trump and his feelings. Well, Biden's not gonna be able to get to those guys, but at some point, if your job's on the line, it's probably gonna be a pretty good motivating factor.
So just to give you more details on how much of an impact this will have, the Department of Defense, the Department of Veterans Affairs, Indian Health Service, and the National Institutes of Health will also complete their previously announced vaccination requirements, which the White House estimates covers 2.5 million workers. And to be clear, this is something that is a little more stringent compared to what was offered by the White House earlier, which was, okay, if you don't want to get the vaccine, then you're gonna have to go through constant testing, mask wearing, all of that. Now, basically, all of these workers have 75 days to get vaccinated. Now, let's talk a little bit about what Biden is doing to address some of these right-wing governors who have implemented bans on mask mandates within schools.
Let me be blunt. My plan also takes on elected officials in states that are undermining you and these life-saving actions. Right now, local school officials are trying to keep children safe in a pandemic while their governor picks a fight with them and even threatens their salaries or their jobs. Talk about bullying in schools. If they'll not help, if these governors won't help us beat the pandemic, I'll use my power as president to get them out of the way. The Department of Education has already begun to take legal action against states undermining protection that local school officials have ordered. Any teacher or school official whose pay is withheld for doing the right thing, we will have that pay restored by the federal government 100%. I promise you. I will have your back.
I want more tough guy Biden. I want him to be a little more, I guess, forceful in ensuring that people do the right thing during a pandemic where we're dealing with a highly contagious virus that kills people, that hospitalizes people. We haven't even had really lengthy discussions yet about the costs associated with being hospitalized with COVID. The average cost is more than $38,000. And when you consider the fact that many people in this country still don't have any insurance coverage, so many people have lost their jobs and the health benefits that come along with it, we're talking about a complete and utter financial disaster for so many people. And so preventing that from happening to them is critical. And I think that what Biden said there in regard to some of these red states, he didn't call out DeSantis by name, but clearly he's referring to the DeSantises of the country, is just incredibly important because he's essentially telling these local school districts, we've got your back, even if your governor, does something negative to your livelihood, to your pay, we're gonna make sure we step in and we protect that. And I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm with you, Anna. I like this Clint Eastwood-esque vibe he's got going. Like a cranky old man, you stepped onto the wrong lawn, son, okay?
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Yeah, this is what he must have done to Corn Pop. I was wondering if he's got the rolled up chain underneath the lectern that he had with Corn Pop. Like, voila, okay. Probably not what he would say. He's gonna do that. Anyway, he says, then I'll get him out of the way, referring to the governors. And for the good guys, I will have your back. Goddamn right you will. Okay. That's the good, bad, and ugly. All right. So now
I don't know what that was.
Bart's shaking his head like, I don't know that was the good, bad, and ugly music. Anyways, so now serious stuff for a second on all of these proposals. So overall, love it. He's actually backing up his tough words with actually good, strong action. And we'd tell you if it was otherwise. But there's one portion of it, two portions that I want to mention. One's a fun theory that I have. You know how the other day he kicked off a bunch of people from the military advisory boards, the Kellyanne Conways and the Sean Spicers, and they are all crying, "Oh, could you do this? You guys are political appointments by Donald Trump. There's a new president. Shut up and go home," right? So, but when you combine these two actions, I don't think he means this, but I like it anyway. So if you're a crazy Trump guy who's like, "Oh, I'm never gonna get vaccinated, man. Don't tread on me." Well, now you can't have a government job. Oh, that cleans out the Trump people from the government, huh? And then, hey, all the political appointments, we kind of told you it was time to go. I don't know if you know this, but he's not getting reinstated. So, and even if you're on an advisory board, we no longer need your advice, okay? So that kind of flushes out the system a little bit, and I like it a lot. One small caveat on all this, it's really small, but some of the rules now apply to Medicaid and Medicare. You got to get vaccinated, and on Medicaid, okay, that's the largesse of the American government, and we can set the rules for that. And oftentimes the Republicans set terrible rules, and here's Democrats setting good rules for your health for Medicaid. But for Medicare, a lot of that is our money that we contributed to that program. So I have this philosophical point against that you're not allowed to touch our Medicare money because that's our money, even if you're trying to do a program that I'm in favor of like this. So I'd be a stickler for that, but I'm probably the only one. Otherwise, really great, strong work. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.